Hi guys, just a quick video to walk you through the process of using sources in an essay. While this is not a class in 1101 where you'll do research writing, it is from time to time a class where you will be asked to use some outside sources, either as prompts or maybe to give you some extra information about a subject. And in doing so, you still need to use the MLA formatting, but also you'll want to cite your sources. And I've given you some information on how to do that. If you go into the modules, you will see in course resources, Owlet Purdue MLA information. There was the sample essay that I had put in for you earlier, but this one, if you click in, it will let you jump out to the full page, and this will give you all the information that you would need to cite any kinds of sources for essays, also walk you through how to do in-text and external citations. So what I'm going to start with is just scrolling down, and on the left-hand side, you'll see the link that says sample paper. And if you click the first file, what you will see is a student sample essay. In essence, what this does is it walks you through exactly what your paper should look like if it's written in MLA format. I can't really give you this information any better than Owlet Purdue has done it here. The best way to use it is to go through and look at the information that's in the blue boxes, and then of course also in the green boxes. Green boxes are going to explain things like the MLA style guidelines. The blue boxes, ooh, that's hard to say, contain directions for writing and citing in MLA style. So a little bit of two things going on here. The green is going to be more structure of the essay, those sorts of issues, but the blue ones are what I want you to really pay attention to, because it's going to tell you where everything goes and what it needs to look like. So you've already written some essays and used the page numbers. Hopefully this is what yours looks like, with a last name and page number. And then the title information, which is your name, instructor's name, class you're in, date you're turning the essay in. And then things like the title and indenting paragraphs. But the other thing that will start to become common in essays that you write for college classes is that you will need to include sources, whether those sources are from a research perspective or if it's something supplied by the instructor. So for any information that you need with that, scroll down a bit, and the first citation that you're going to see in your essay is here. So you'll notice that there is a quotation, and then at the end of the sentence you have in parentheses Danoff 5. And if you've ever read through an article that uses MLA documentation, you may have seen something like that. And here's a few things you want to know. Remember, always you can read the boxes and it will help explain things if I'm not here. But if you have quoted something, which means that you use the author's words word for word, those go in quotation marks. You could also paraphrase, which means that I'm going to take that author's idea, put it into my own words. If you are using, however, really specific pieces of language, those would still go in quotes, but what's in your own words wouldn't. Or you can simply summarize an idea presented by an author if it's something that you need to attribute to them. For example, if you were summarizing how to well, I'll do this. If I'm summarizing Einstein's theory of relativity, I need to give credit to him. That's not something I could have come up with on my own. It doesn't necessarily need quotation marks if I'm not using his specific language. But whatever I'm doing to use that source, at the end of the sentence, I want to do what's called an in-text citation. Some textbooks call it a parenthetical citation. This simply means that I'm going to give you what used to be back in the olden days, a footnote. So if you read that quote and you think, I need more information about that, then what you can do is notice what they have in the parentheses, and I'm going to scroll all the way back to the last page. Sorry for the flying screen there. And I'm going to go to what's called the Works Cited page. Works Cited is going to list any article that I quote, that I paraphrase, or that I summarize. And the reason that in the paper I put something in the in-text citation that said Danoff is because if I want my reader to see the full information, lo and behold, there's Danoff. And what goes in the in-text citation will change depending on who the author is, how many authors you have, or if you don't have an author, because that happens sometimes. You'll notice with this entry, just simply titled Historical Census Browser. And what you're doing with the in-text and the works cited citation is very simple. Essays are broken into three elements that must be present. One is logos, that's facts, statistics, all those things that you can prove. Then you have to have pathos. That's an emotional appeal to the reader. And finally, you need ethos, which if you kind of think of ethos as the word ethics, then you're on the right track. Because ethos means that I have to give you the information and make sure I've given it to you correctly. One way to do that is to simply cite your source. Let the reader know here's where that information came from. And you will also notice there are very specific things for a works cited page along with your name and page number. This one, by the way, does not count as a text page. So if an instructor says I want a 5-page research paper, that's 5 pages of text, 1 page of works cited entries. And up at the top you do title it Works Cited. And here's where I'm going to be a little bit fussy. Over the last few years, attention to detail with MLA has faltered a bit, and I notice that sometimes students will turn in papers, and for example, I'll get a works cited page, and up here instead of works cited, it says bibliography, or it will say annotated bibliography, or it will say instead of works cited, references, or my favorite, works cited with cited spelled S-I-T-E-D. None of those are correct. And it's not an idea where I'm asking you to do something really complicated. I'm just asking for you to make sure that the works cited page that you turn in looks like the one on the sample paper. Not too tough. If you have more than one source, which you will for most of your essays, you put them in alphabetical order. It's going to give you all of the information in these little blue boxes. But this is what it's going to look like. So when I ask you for those sources for articles, make sure that you're following the sample paper. You're finding the format that you need, as well as how to cite the source itself, which I will show you how to do in the next video.